peace, and blessings. I am Brandi L. Bates. You're listening to Power Podcasts. You can find me on Twitter at SolarDadFrancis, at SolarDadFrancis, and on Instagram at Brandi is winning, Brandi with an I. Also, you can find these podcasts on SoundCloud.com, hashtag Power Podcasts, and many of the archived talks can be found on YouTube via the I Am Brandi Bates YouTube channel. So be sure to follow me, like, share these talks, and holler at me, folks. Let me know who you are. Let's get some dialogue, some conversation. What's your name? What's your sign? So today we're talking about the path of totality. The path of totality. In just a matter of days, we are going to witness the most unusual solar eclipse in U.S. history. That's right, folks. The Great American Eclipse. Eclipse 2017. Could it be possible that all the very strange, quote-unquote, coincidences surrounding this event have some sort of special significance? The mainstream media has been buzzing about this upcoming solar eclipse for months, and it will easily be the most watched eclipse in all of United States history. When the United States sneezes, many other nations catch cold. A solar eclipse occurs when the moon passes between the sun and the earth, blocking out a large chunk of the sun's rays. Day will turn into night across the United States on August 21st, folks. The moon will pass directly between the earth and the sun, casting a shadow on the United States that will track from Oregon to South Carolina. That's what I love about science, folks. That's why I love science. At my core, I am a science buff. Like, I've been on some Bill Nye the Science Guy type shit since I was like 16 years old. All you flat earthers and what have you, one thing you cannot do is debate solar eclipses, lunar eclipses, blood moons, and the like, etc., because these things date back hundreds and thousands of years, and we can predict them. Our ancestors have predicted them, and we've noticed that they always correspond with major life events in our individual personal lives, and they correspond with national and international current events. So, the path of totality. This is the first time this is happening, understand, in nearly 100 years. 100 years. For the sun to move from sea to shining sea. The fact that the sun is moving from the west coast to the east coast, as predicted by the astronomers decades in advance, the shadow arrives with perfect accuracy and touches down in the Pacific Northwest. And there are people traveling from all over the globe, all over the world, globally, to see this monumental event. So it's kind of a big deal. Yeah. So understand, total solar eclipses are spiritual experiences. Okay? Stay with me. The swath of the shadow will touch the United States for only 1 hour and 33 minutes and about 16.8 seconds. So an hour and a half and some seconds, some change. Less than the length of a short movie. But in that time, many people in our country will have had their perceptions and their lives changed forever. It was written, and there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars and upon the earth, distress of nations with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring. That's biblical. I won't be able to see the eclipse where I am currently in Georgia, ATL, but this eclipse will travel over the Georgia Guidestones. For those who don't know, the Georgia Guidestones are a calendar, clock, and compass. Just FYI. Yeah, Google that. The Georgia Guidestones are a calendar, clock, and compass. So if you're in the state of Georgia or anywhere near Georgia, the Carolinas, Tennessee, you should check it out before you die. Put that on your bucket list. Sidebar. So understand that ancient observations of solar eclipses have a long history among many different cultures and civilizations, which stretches back to at least 2500 BC in the writings that have survived. What we have from ancient China, Babylon, of course, Kemet, Egypt. We have our ancestors in Uganda and the Sudan, the Dogon tribes, who have mapped out the whole Syrian cosmos. They already knew it and saw it, the Big Dipper and all that shit. They had already mapped it out. Okay. So while Chinese, Babylonian, and Greek astrologers dominated the astronomical knowledge of the old world halfway across the globe, you have the Mayans and the Aztecs and the Olmecs. Mayan observers were also working on calendars and recording celestial observations to their own ends. So we gotta go. This thing goes back way deeper than modern technology. So when you're talking about astrology and you're talking about the stars, you're talking about the science of the ancestors. Just like modern day technology back in the day, for the ancients in the ancient world, history was magic. They considered it magic. But this science, this knowledge has always been here. And I have been itching. I couldn't wait to talk about this, but I wanted it to be nice and fresh right before the eclipse. I talked about it on social media just a little bit lightly doused it. But today I'm going to go into a little bit more detail because it is going to affect you, folks. I don't care who you are. The Dresden Codex, quote unquote, the Dresden Codex, if you've ever or never heard of that, records several tables which are widely thought to be lunar eclipse tables. They've always been able, we come from lunar, moon-centered. So when I say lunar, the moon-centered civilizations that studied the movement of the moon. God uses whatever you call your God, Allah, Christ, Ra, the Most High, the creator of this universe, of who hung the sun and the stars, who puts a beat in your heart and breath in your lungs. How do you reproduce and the way your blood moves through your veins. God uses signs and wonders in heaven to communicate with people, believe it or not. Okay. That includes rare solar eclipses. And eclipses want us to change. And change we do. So either you get right, get your mind right, Get your body right, get your head in place, or you will be dragged. Any eclipse is a significant event in the heavens or in the skies, right? When you look up in the sky. In truth, a solar eclipse is really a new moon on steroids. A lunar eclipse is a full moon on steroids. They have the strength of 3 new moons or 3 full moons. But a solar eclipse, especially in this case, a total solar eclipse, is really a new moon on steroids. So all my fellow Cancerian sun signs, you will be affected. All of my fellow Leos out there, I love you. Happy birthday and all that greatness. This will affect you. If you have Leo anywhere in your chart, this will affect you. Aquarians, the polar opposite of the Sun Leo, you will be affected. So your finances, your health, your career, your relationships, your mindset, your day-to-day somehow will be touched in some way. One of the first things that civilizations must do to ensure a coherent society and the harvesting and planting of crops is to establish an accurate calendar. That's where we get the study of the sun and the moon and the stars and the seasons. That's where we get it from. Before we had our nice, shiny, beautiful little calendars, the ancestors had to study the movement of the stars. That's where this comes from. Ladies, you know, like I do. Every month, Aunt Flo is there knocking on the door. Hey! 28 days, cycles, followed by the movement of the moon. The tides, controlled by the movement of the moon. Lunatics, where we get the word lunatics, crazy psycho sociopaths and psychopaths, often do things in relation to the movement of the moon. The art and science of self-transformation is based on the personal natal chart or horoscope. That's why I'll recommend anyone, if you have not already done so, go online and get your natal chart. Google free natal chart or free birth chart if you have not already done so. There are some authors and books out there that are excellent resources to get you started on the path of understanding what all the shit means. Your houses, the sun sign, the moon sign, the ascendant or your rising, where's your Venus, things of that nature. But it is the art and science of unfolding your potential and the development of higher states of consciousness. So in a way, it kind of is like a spread of your life. And once you have an idea of what is in store, you can prepare and plan accordingly. So I don't know about you, but I love the idea of an almanac, a farmer's almanac. For years and years and years and years, farmers have used almanacs to know what to do with their crops, to know when the rains are coming, when there's no rain coming, so they can know when to plant and when not to plant, and when, you know, shit is going to be all good, when shit's going to be all bad, so forth and so on. And every major politician and every major king and queen throughout history have always used astrologers to map out their moves so they make proper chess moves. Okay? Stay with me. It is the turning of lead into gold, or turning of darkness into light, when you know what's in your chart. So we have karmic patterns in our lives, whether you agree with it or not. I'm not here to argue. I don't do arguing. Either you with me or you're not. But we have positive and we have negative karmic patterns. And our negative karmic patterns of thinking and feeling and our actions must be consciously transformed into positive patterns of thinking, feeling, and action. Why? Eclipses. Okay, stay with me. I promise I'm gonna pull this all together and knit it all together for you, nice and beautiful. Eclipses are dramatic, like wild cards in our horoscopes, and they are some of the most dramatic tools that the universe uses to get us to pay attention to areas in our life that need to change. Okay, they uproot us, surprise us, and get us moving. For some people, it means getting out of a toxic relationship that you know, and I know, and I know you know that I know you need to get up out of. You need to raise up out of that toxic relationship. It may be, you haven't been living right. You haven't been eating right. You need to get your shit together. You might need to go to the doctor. You got a lump, you got a spot, something ain't right. And you need to do something about it. Well, eclipses will bring something that make your ass move. It's going to put some fire under your ass. For some of us, it's being laid off of a job. You've been there for 1,000,000 years. You should have been left. They treat you like shit. They're not giving you a raise. Yeah, there's no raise. Raise is not coming. They don't respect you. They're not promoting you. People have come in since you've been there. You've trained people who've gotten promoted over you. People have come in since you've been there, been promoted, got raises, and it ain't no raise for you. It's time to make moves. And for some of you, you won't make moves, major life changes until and unless something pushes you. Because for whatever reason, there's fear, there's doubt, there's apprehension, there's what if, I don't know what else to do. I don't have a contingency plan. I'm afraid. You may not say those words, but subconsciously there's fear. And there's ignorance. And once you have an idea of what's going on in your chart, an idea of what's going on in the cosmos that are giving you signs and things that are pushing you and giving you the energy to move forward and make better decisions, you can make more informed, better choices and decisions. Life is about choices and consequences. That's it. There is no right or wrong. There is no, winning and losing. There's choices and consequences. That's it. We're all gonna die one day. So, pick your poison. But life is about choices and consequences of those choices. Eclipses, folks, bring no matter what, whether it's a small eclipse or a big eclipse, always keep this in mind. Just always kind of hang this up on your mirror. Just always write a little post-it or some shit, and just keep this in the back of your mind. Eclipses bring news of life's big events. So somebody's gonna come up pregnant. Yes, people get pregnant every day. What they say? People get pregnant every day, B. But somebody's gonna come up pregnant. You're gonna get a positive pregnancy test. Somebody is going to miscarry. Somebody is going to die. Someone close. For some of you who this path of totality touches, you are going to lose someone. So make sure every conversation is a positive conversation, because it might be the last time you talk to that person. Someone is going to be born. Yes, people are born every day. But this one is going to affect you. All types of big events, career changes. Somebody's stepping out on faith and about to start that new business. Somebody is going to get a book deal. Somebody is going to get a record deal. The record deal of all record deals. Somebody is going to get a tap on the shoulder to work with some major big talent. And this is going to open the door and change your life in ways you could not possibly even conceive. You are about to, for someone, make more money than you've ever even imagined. More money than your mama made, more money than your daddy made. And it's up to you to be mature and responsible with this big major event. But with all eclipses, something ends and something else begins. Take that with you and do with it what you will. But with all eclipses, whether it's a solar eclipse or a lunar eclipse, something ends, i.e. relationships. Somebody's gonna quit at some of your workplaces. People who've been installed for years. It's gonna be huge because it's like no one expected this, right? Somebody's gonna quit. Something is gonna end and something else begins. And an eclipse can bring news of a birth of a baby, an engagement, or marriage, promotion, career breakthrough, important travel, the signing of vital business contracts, or the start of one's own business. Okay? Just keep that in mind. An eclipse can bring the sale or purchase of a house. Somebody listening to me right now, you're about to buy your first house. That's huge. And so congratulations in advance. And if it's you, please send me a DM or an email or something. Send me a fucking smoke signal, because I just want to know, and I just want to say, hey, I'm so happy for you, because that's major. It could be a move to a new home across the country, across the world. It can be the acquisition or loss of a family pet. Surgery is another big one. An important health development, good or bad. But even with any bad news with regards to health, like doctors and diagnoses, understand that it's always just feedback. It's just feedback, with any major disease, any quote unquote terminal or chronic disease. It's just saying, you got to change your behavior, right? Again, we all are going to die someday of something. Some people are going to live longer than others. A diagnosis is feedback. You might need to eat a little different, change your diet. You might need to change your habits, how you work out, if you working out, if you not working out, it's feedback to get your shit together. But it might bring a college graduation. But the eclipse may mark the start of your course of study. A lot of people are going back to school. Eclipses sometimes bring on a divorce. I know for me, there was an eclipse around my first marriage, my divorce. It could be a newly published book. So you kind of following me. If nothing happens to you though, it may be happening to friends and family around you, depending on, the precise degrees of the planets in your chart and their charts. But it's just beneficial to stay woke and just kind of have an idea and be prepared in advance for what may come. To have your eyes open. That's all this is. Keep your high beams on and be prepared for what's coming. Okay? The changes could happen instantly, but they also can occur over a period of months. So sometimes with each successive eclipse, you may have your eclipse and then nothing happens for a couple of days, couple of weeks, and then something happens. But it was tied to that particular sign in the skies, in the heavens. The news of those changes will always come as a shock, though. Always. Somebody's going to find out, your husband or your wife or your boo, they've been cheating. And it's going to shock you because you did not see it coming. Solar eclipses tend to create new beginnings and bright new opportunities. Stay with me. The path of totality. Usually, solar eclipses, though, are exciting. They're often very positive, and they bring news out of the blue. So I'm hearing a lot of people, so-called astrologers, they're tying this Great American solar eclipse to doom and gloom. They're saying it has something to do with Donald Trump and judgment on the United States, and the U.S. will be cursed and abomination, and it's the beginning of the end, and it's the end of the world. And I don't know, but I don't see it being a sign of doom and gloom. My intuition does not warrant that, but what do I know, right? So eclipses will bring a random event you do not expect, didn't know about. It will be triggered by an event happening elsewhere, and that's completely outside your control. But at eclipse time, bring vast changes that will come straight to your doorstep in some shape, form, or fashion. The job of an eclipse is to shine a glaring ray of truth to the part of your life that is being touched. And truth will likely arrive in a startling way. That's just the way it is. Okay? So take any message you hear from an eclipse as non-negotiable, is firm. It is what it is, and that's that. Remember when you were a kid, your mom or your dad be like, you know what? No, that's it. And you knew in the tone of their voice, the way they said it, don't test them, right? It's done. So accept it and move on. If it's the end of your relationship, as much as it may hurt, it's time to let it go, baby. It's time to let it go. It's other fish in the sea, though. So eclipses almost always bring up all kinds of unexpected changes of direction, assuming your sun, moon, or a planet is touched, right? So Leos and Aquarians, again, be extremely vigilant at this time. Just, keep your eyes open. Be smart about what you say. Watch your emails. Oh, and not to mention, Mercury is retrograde. Mercury went retrograde on Saturday, August 12th, and it's going to be moving retrograde, meaning moving slowly. It appears to move backwards, but it's just slowing down, like slow motion, till about September 5th, I want to say. And so you got a lot of shit popping off right now, like in the cosmos. Every now and then the cosmos just is extra. And when the cosmos, as above, so below, when the cosmos is extra, it causes people to be extra and shit in your life to be extra, right? So, occasionally an important person to you will be quote unquote eclipsed out of your life. And I've always seen this happen during especially major lunar eclipses for me. Being a Cancer sun, all of the lunar eclipses will affect you. So if you are a Cancer sun sign is Cancerian, all lunar eclipses will affect you. All solar eclipses typically affect Leos because your ruler is the sun, of course, and your polar opposite is Sun, Aquarian sun. They tend to be affected, not in such a major way, but they feel it, for some of you Aquarians, someone close in your family just passed away or will pass away. Just, things that it makes you cry in the shower, but a solar eclipse generally points to a prominent man in your life, right? So often, a man may leave. If you are to be affected, you may break up, relationship with, your dude, or see that your boss has quit, or the CEO, or somebody important, some important man in your world is leaving. And not only will you hear news in your own life at the time of these two eclipses, but you'll also hear news happening on the world stage. And I'm hearing a lot of buzz about, shit that's going to affect some major leaders. Again, what do we know? But often with the solar eclipse, especially one in Leo, which this one is, that will take place on August 21st, a king or president or some type of ambassador or dignitary, a great leader will depart. Somebody huge on the world stage. So we probably will hear about that on TMZ and CNN and Fox News and Reuters and all of the major mainstream media outlets. The fire signs, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. Eclipses that are in the same element with you. So all the fire signs or all the air, water, quote unquote, earth signs, whatever the eclipse is in your same element as your birth sign, are generally friendly and helpful. So this one is in fire sign Leo, so you know what's up. Eclipses can help you do things you never thought you could do. And that's the beauty of it. That's what the path of totality is all about. The people, circumstances, and situations in your life are manifestations of your karma at the end of the day. Okay? All the people in your life, all of the circumstances, everything that's happening and going down in your world are all manifestations of your karma. You've created it in some way, either in this lifetime or past lifetime. Some shit you've said, done, or set in motion has brought all of this into your life, whether you want to agree, believe it, receive it, or not. And so when a crisis occurs, our negative karma is activated. And we are being tested to see if we have learned our lessons related to our negative patterns of thinking, our negative patterns of feeling, the way we've been acting, our behavior. And sometimes you need shit to happen to kind of shake you out of your comfort zone and get you to really take a look at what you've been doing. Is it working? Or is it not working? It identifies the opportunity to change our reaction response from a negative to a positive and thus heal our negative karma. That's the only way. So always see crisis as opportunity. Don't see crisis as woe is me. See crisis as opportunity. The same way you have to see failure as feedback. See crisis as, you know what? There is a seed of a blessing in that for you. You have to understand that. That's how we evolve as human beings. Because otherwise we wouldn't grow. If life didn't tap your ass when you need to have your ass tapped, you wouldn't grow. You wouldn't change. So knowledge is power. And it's your choice whether you live a life of struggle and disappointment or a life of happiness and growth and evolution. And this is a total eclipse of the sun, folks. And eclipses of the sun are always new moons. They are always new moons. Again, this is a total eclipse of the sun. And eclipses of the sun are always new moons. And they are known to open a completely new path, one that never existed before. The path of totality. What's in your path of totality? What did you come here to do? What is your purpose in life? What are some of your skills and abilities and talents? What do you know how to do that no one else knows how to do? What gets you fired up on the inside? What are you extremely on fire about? What gets you pissed off? What gets you motivated? What gets your balls in a tizzy? Right? The path of totality. When you look over the grand scheme of your life, and God only knows how much more life you have to live. What kind of legacy do you want to leave? How do you want people to talk about you in your obituary? How do you want this world to talk about you when you're no longer on this earth plane in your physical body? What did you come here to shake up and change? It has to be more than, lip gloss and tennis shoes and hairstyles and, right? Path of totality. The one thing about eclipses is that they often demand you give up something to get something else. Sacrifice. Do you realize over 5 million folks, 5 million jobs will be lost between now and 2020 to technology? And if not now, sometime in the near future, you need to be seriously sharpening your saw. Seriously. Whatever your latent talent is, you need to grow that talent. So, meaning, if you are a singer, but you just can't really break through, right? It might mean it's time to get a vocal coach. It might mean it's time to get vocal lessons and start working with someone who can help get you over the hump. If you are a entrepreneur, it might be time to go back to school or take some classes and get some more additional training to help get you, on to the next level. But sharpen your saw and tighten up on your skills, your talents, abilities, and stay up on your reading and training in new sectors. Because we're about to see some serious revolutionary type changes happen, especially in the United States. And it's up to you to change outcomes and create more equitable growth in your life. The government is not going to do it. Interest rates are not going to do it. Public policy and legislation won't do it. Going to church, going to mosque, going to temple, joining whatever consciousness movement you're a part of, that's not going to do it because it's from the outside. It's up to you to make shit happen. And it's up to you to think divergent thoughts, because the thoughts you've been thinking got you to where you are now. And if you really aren't content ultimately with where you are now, you're going to have to think some divergent ass thoughts. You follow me? Inequalities will be made more visible. And we see that. I see that as an ongoing theme, at least for the next 2 to 3 years. Inequalities will be made more visible. So those, you have your haves and you have your have-nots. Bottom line. Yes, you have your lower class, your middle class, and your upper class. But ultimately, you have people who can do for self, and you have those who are totally dependent on the state, dependent on the economy, dependent on somebody else to forward their life and forward what it is they're trying to do and have and be. But those inequalities, that chasm between the haves and the have-nots, is going to become more pronounced. But at the same time, it's going to become less acceptable. So that's why you see what you see in Charlottesville. You see the re-emergence, I should say, of the quote-unquote Nazis. The Nazis have been around for hundreds of years. You have Nazis in the White House. You've always had Nazis, of course, obviously, in Europe. We've been led into world wars behind Nazis. Millions of people have died because of Nazis, right? And so now the world is starting to pay attention, like, yo, this is not cool. This even, you even have, cool white people who are like, wait a minute now, this is crazy. For a while, it never affected them, so they didn't, or you, it didn't affect you, so you didn't say anything. It's a quote that says, if you rob Peter to pay Paul, you're always gonna find an advocate in Paul, because Paul is eating, Paul is benefiting. Whether it was during your lifetime or your ancestors' lifetime, or whether it will affect your lineage, you're benefiting. Right? And so anything you're benefiting from, you're not going to protest. You eating good. and you're living good because of it. So these things now are starting to be more visible, and conversation and dialogue is becoming more prevalent in that space. And we need that to happen. And we need to start unpacking some of the shit that we've been pushing and sweeping under the rug. And that's going to happen. The eclipse is going to pull the rug over all that shit. And we're going to have to deal with it. So that's what we see happening globally. And ultimately, this is the changing of the guards. And we've been talking about it. And it's been happening slowly and slowly. It's going to continue to happen slowly and slowly. This isn't the first or the last total solar eclipse. And the changing of the guards will continue to happen. I've said it before and I'll continue to say it. We will see one of the largest transfer of wealth in the history of the world take place. I would say within the next 10 years, between now and the next 10 years. Slowly it's happening, but we are past due for either a depression or a recession. They're built into the economy. So we're past due. So understand, when it happens, you are either going to be on the side where you are winning and benefiting and using it to propel yourself, you and yours forward, or you're going to be on the side where you get your ass handed to you and raped and roughshotted with no Vaseline. And that's just what it is. You can attach whatever ism you want to it. You can call, don't at me about it. Don't debate me on it. This is economic theory, history. It's written. Go study it. Google it. It's coming, and you either will be prepared for it, ready, or you won't. But this is ultimately a changing of the guards. And reality is being augmented, folks. Reality is being augmented. Do you hear me? Genome editing, stem cell tech, doing major things for cancer research and more. We're going to see more happening with in vitro and cloning. I talked about that in another talk on a transition. But we have quantum computers hazing the boundary between imagination and reality. They are tearing the veil between dimensions, between waking reality, what you see and hear and taste and touch and smell, and all the shit, the other bands and dimensions, the other bands and the beta waves and all those other. See, we only see the visible spectrum. You only see Roy G. Biv, okay? You only see the visible spectrum. There's others, hundreds and hundreds of other spectrums that you don't see. Some animals are sensitive to those other spectrums, and so they see things. They may not see all the colors, but they see some other shit you don't see. That's why if those who have cats and dogs, every now and then you'll see them wild out, right? Because they see shit you don't see. I'm not trying to spook you out. This is science, okay? And eventually, religion and all of these isms, they're gonna catch up with shit that really is. Just like the science for Wi-Fi technology, it's always been here. It's not newly created energy that gave us the science and technology for Wi-Fi. They just had to tap in and learn and see that it's been here all this time. Same concept. Quantum computers are hazing the boundary between imagination and reality. You are going to see some strange things coming, folks. So how do we try to understand our place in the universe is the bigger question. And when there is a total solar eclipse, it is a warning to a specific nation or nations, quote unquote, depending on its path. So what this ultimately means for the United States, corporation and continental United States, is anybody's guess. But we're about to find out really soon, aren't we? So I'll see you in the shadows. Signing out. Respect and honor. Love and light. thank you for listening. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. Peace.